Just in case you missed it, remember when Wednesday famously said, "I could eat Girl Scouts for breakfast"? Well, there's way more where that came from. Wednesday isn't just about the spooky stuff, there are plenty of dark, clever, and even adult hidden gems in there too. Rowan's death scene is pretty intense. When you're watching, it feels like you're in a war zone. It's dark and all about survival. The episode sets up this unknown monster that seems pretty low-key at first, but then it shows just how big and vicious it can be when Rowan gets killed by it. The scene is pretty jarring and really gives a sense of danger ahead. This is just the start. The monster is definitely coming back for more, leaving a trail of severed limbs in its wake. And as for every other death scene, Rowan's wasn't the first or last. There's a random hiker killed in the woods near Nevermore Academy's grounds, which kind of sets the tone for the show. Most of the death scenes are in the background with loud screams, squishing sounds, and blood splatters, definitely too much for younger or more sensitive viewers. But hey, it's a fantasy comedy horror series, so we kind of expect it. Then there's the piranha scene. We're definitely not endorsing bullying, but Wednesday's response is pretty brutal. She basically drops piranhas into a pool where some boys are swimming without thinking about the consequences. And she doesn't feel bad about it at all. In fact, she says that attempted murder charges would just make her look bad because she couldn't get the job done. It gets worse when we find out one of the boys got hurt pretty badly. Wednesday's pretty unapologetic about it too. She thinks she did the world a favor by keeping someone like Dalton from reproducing. It's a darkly inappropriate thought process, but hey, it's Wednesday. Next, there's the gatehouse scene. It starts with Wednesday tricking Enid and Tyler into a mission, all to get to the identity of the murderer. She's naturally frustrated that it keeps eluding her, so she hatches this plan. They end up at an abandoned house filled with body parts. It's pretty disturbing to see all those jars. It feels unnecessary and disturbing even for adults. And yeah, we know this show isn't for kids, but seeing body parts everywhere isn't exactly kid-friendly. Then there's the cliffhanger scene. The showdown between Wednesday and Mr. Crackstone is satisfying, but the scene that follows is pretty graphic. Tyler wakes up, transforms into Hyde, and it ends abruptly, leaving us to imagine all sorts of nasty possibilities. It's scary and definitely not for the faint of heart. And with all the chains and stuff, it's pretty in-your-face inappropriate. And let's not forget the confession room scene. It's a masterclass in how to make torture seem casually malevolent. The show doesn't shy away from Wednesday's darker impulses. When she resorts to light torture and holds Tyler captive, it's not just a plot twist, it's an uncomfortably real depiction of someone losing control when their world crumbles. The scene begins with a bit of dark humor. Just some light torture, don't worry, she says, before swiftly transitioning into the seriousness of the moment. The dark humor here is palpable. It underlines the desperation and frustration Wednesday feels when she realizes she's been misled by Tyler all along. This scene isn't just about the physical act of torture, but about the psychological manipulation and the blurred lines between right and wrong. The fact that Wednesday has to resort to such extreme measures to get the truth highlights the show's cleverness in exploring moral ambiguity. It's a bold adult twist that challenges viewers to question the limits of justified violence and confront the darker aspects of human nature. The car ride scene might seem like a simple moment of cringeworthy family bonding at first. Gomez's awkward attempts to connect with his daughter Wednesday are full of forced smiles and uncomfortable hand-holding. But it's also a darkly humorous look at a family that doesn't quite fit together. The car ride is awkward, uncomfortable, and downright painful to watch, much like the series as a whole. It underscores the theme of isolation that runs through the show, suggesting that Wednesday's peculiar nature makes her unable to fit into normal familial roles. The adult tone here comes from the way it lays bare the unrealistic expectations of a dysfunctional family and the self-aware dialogue that reveals as much about the characters as it does about the plot. It's a clever commentary on growing up different in a world that wants to force you into a mold. The scene's dark undertones and casual dialogue make it relatable for many viewers, even if it's a bit too cringe to be completely comfortable. The show acknowledges the pain of familial expectations while also hinting at deeper issues of identity and acceptance that many struggle with in real life. The kiss scene is another example of Wednesday's dark, clever, and adult tone. The show doesn't shy away from Wednesday's vulnerability or the toxic relationship dynamics at play. When Wednesday kisses Tyler, it's less about romance and more about manipulation. It's a moment of weakness, one that she regrets immediately when the fog of her feelings lifts. This scene is less about romance and more about exposing the toxicity and controlling nature of Tyler. The viewers are often a step ahead, knowing Tyler's secret while Wednesday is still in the dark, making the scene both clever and suspenseful. The casual way the show treats these mature themes, romantic manipulation, self-delusion, and the blurred lines between love and obsession, gives the kiss scene an adult edge. It's a stark contrast to more traditional depictions of teenage romance, emphasizing the complexity of relationships in a way that's both realistic and unsettling. This scene highlights how easy it is to deceive oneself when caught up in emotions, and how manipulation can often disguise itself as love. Finally, the bloody dance scene is where the show pulls no punches in its commitment to dark, clever storytelling. The scene is a parody of the iconic pig's blood scene from Carrie, but it goes a step further by making it both a social commentary and a brutal prank. The red paint spray isn't just a gimmick, it's a symbol of the chaos that ensues when the outcasts of Nevermore Academy are targeted by the popular crowd. The fact that Wednesday's indifferent dance moves continue despite the madness around her showcases her strength and resilience in the face of adversity. She's not scared, just annoyed. The scene highlights the darkness of high school social dynamics and the way that power plays can result in violence even when it's not literal. The cleverness here lies in the inversion. Wednesday isn't victimized by the paint, she rises above it. This is a casual but brutal acknowledgement of how the other is treated, making the scene not just dark and clever, but also a comment on how little has changed since Carrie's time. It's a reminder of the dangers of exclusion and the consequences of ostracizing those who don't fit in, all delivered with a cynical yet clear-eyed view of teenage angst and cruelty. Together, these scenes encapsulate the show's ability to blend dark, clever, and adult themes in a way that feels authentic to the characters and the story. Wednesday is more than just a mystery series, it's a complex exploration of identity, power, and control, all wrapped in Tim Burton's signature style. Each scene stands on its own, but together they create a rich tapestry of emotion and commentary that makes the series so compelling. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop, and if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.